Look, building an NFL dynasty, it's a brutal, unforgiving science. Seriously. It requires absolute laser-like precision, flawless timing, and quite frankly, the nerve to make legacy-defining decisions while you're staring straight down the barrel of a salary cap that waits for absolutely no one. You can do everything right. You can draft perfectly. You can hire the visionary head coach who changes the culture overnight. You can cultivate a locker room that just breathes fire. But eventually, the bill comes due. And in today's National Football League, that bill can completely paralyze a franchise if they aren't meticulously prepared for it. So let's dive into this, because what we are witnessing right now in Houston is without a doubt one of the most fascinating, high-stakes financial tightropes in modern sports history. We're looking at a team built to conquer the world, right? But they are operating with an hourglass that is rapidly, undeniably running out of sand. The psychological weight resting on this front office is immense. Literally every single move they make this season is dictated by a massive financial tidal wave they know is coming for them.
Everything changed in a matter of seconds. A single devastating playoff mistake, a sudden contract demand. That is the haunting, inescapable reality of roster construction in the NFL. A team's Super Bowl hopes, their entire carefully constructed championship window, can vanish the exact moment their franchise quarterback steps up to the negotiating table and demands true top-tier market value. You see, the ultimate cheat code in football, the golden ticket, is a superstar quarterback on a rookie contract. It is hands down the greatest competitive advantage in all of sports. It allows a front office to artificially inflate the talent level across the rest of the 53-man roster, basically hiding any weaknesses behind a massive wall of expensive free agents. But the second that rookie deal expires, the window violently slams shut for everyone else. The margin for error goes from wide open to completely non-existent in the blink of an eye.
Before we unravel the exact timeline of this impending collision down in Houston, welcome to NFL Nexus. We're here to uncover the truth beneath the turf. If you want to truly understand the complex, hidden financial warfare and the strategic mechanisms that actually drive this league, well, you're in the right place. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below with your thoughts as we go through this explainer. And look, if you want to support deep dives, cinematic explainers exactly like this one, become a paying channel member today. Your support is literally what allows us to keep pulling back the curtain on the NFL's biggest, most closely guarded stories.
$60 million. I just want you to let that astronomical number sink in for a moment. Feel the immense psychological and salary cap weight of it. Because that figure isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It represents the absolute pinnacle, the bleeding edge of the current quarterback market, especially following the massive financial resets we've seen across the league recently. It is a monumental financial threshold that is currently looming over the Houston Texans like a dark, heavy storm cloud. When a franchise commits $60 million annually, which is often upwards of 25% of their total salary cap, to a single human being, they are fundamentally altering the entire economic ecosystem of their organization. It means saying painful goodbyes to beloved veterans. It means cutting corners on defensive depth. It means relying on unproven rookies to play absolutely critical snaps in January. And this staggering reality, it's exactly what is waiting for Houston at the end of this tunnel.
To truly understand the panic, you have to look closely at the timeline. Now, 2023 was the honeymoon phase, right? An offensive Rookie of the Year campaign that shocked the world and put Houston instantly on the map. But then came 2025. Yes, Houston managed double-digit wins again under head coach DeMeco Ryans, and yes, they reached the divisional round again. But we really have to agonize over the reality of Stroud's 2025 season. He missed 3 critical games due to a concussion, which raised sudden, uncomfortable durability questions in a league that shows absolutely no mercy to unprotected quarterbacks. And in the postseason, man, he committed 7 brutal, back-breaking turnovers across just 2 playoff games. 7. Passes forced under immense pressure, uncharacteristic misread in the most crucial moments. Now, in 2026, he's officially eligible for that mega extension. And waiting right there in 2027 is the 5th-year option. So the clock is no longer just ticking, it is echoing down the halls of the Texans facility. And yet, in the face of this suffocating, franchise-altering pressure, I want you to notice the sheer, almost unsettling stoicism in his words. Stroud recently told reporters, and I quote, "My job is football. That's what I'm focused on. Just getting better. I think I've held my bargain up. Whatever happens, happens." End quote. He's utterly unfazed, ice cold. He knows he has done enough to warrant a massive second contract, but he is perfectly content to just step back into the shadows and work. He leaves the millions to be negotiated in the boardroom by his agent, the absolute powerhouse David Milageta. And if you know anything about NFL contracts, you know Milageta notoriously resets the market every single time he sits down at the negotiating table, The guy does not take hometown discounts, so Stroud is entirely focused on the gridiron while his representation prepares for absolute financial warfare behind closed doors. But while Stroud is preaching patience, the league insiders are painting a very different, highly accelerated picture. Contrast Stroud's calm approach with this explosive hunch from ESPN's Adam Schefter. He stated flat out, "My guess is that CJ Stroud gets paid this offseason. By the time the season begins, he has a new deal." Wow, that is a seismic declaration. Schefter is heavily implying that the Texans front office is preparing to drop a historic, landscape-altering bag of cash before Week 1 even kicks off. They might not wait for 2027. Honestly, they might not even wait for the leaves to change color. The urgency radiating from the front office suggests they are terrified of the price tag climbing even higher if they wait this out. And this brings us to the most agonizing dilemma currently torturing General Manager Nick Caserio. Let's weigh these two paths because neither is easy. Option 1, pay now. You lock in your franchise quarterback early. Securing him right now prevents any potential holdouts, it guarantees locker room stability, and frankly, it potentially saves you money before the next tier of quarterbacks reset the market all over again. Then you have option 2, pay later. This is the cautious route. You wait to see if Stroud can actually rebound from those devastating 2025 playoff struggles. Because under offensive coordinator Nick Caley's highly complex, timing-based scheme, Stroud looked visibly uncomfortable at times last year. So, paying a quarterback $60 million after an up-and-down, turnover-heavy postseason, that could financially cripple the Houston Texans for a decade if he doesn't immediately master Caley's system and return to his rookie-year form. No room for error. I want you to just let that sit with you for a second. In the high-stakes, three-dimensional chess match of NFL roster building, a single wrong mega contract closes your championship window forever. You do not get a do-over. Just look historically at the teams that paid the wrong guy early. They spend the next 5 years trapped in absolute salary cap purgatory, forced to watch prime defensive talent walk out the door in free agency. If Caserio pays Stroud right now and Stroud regresses, the Texans are paralyzed. If Caserio waits and Stroud puts together an MVP season, well, the price tag might exceed what any team can sustainably manage without completely gutting the rest of the roster. Every single decision made in this building right now has the power to either forge a legendary dynasty or destroy a franchise from the inside out. And, we can see exactly how this front office operates when their backs are against the wall. Just look at the aggressive spending spree Caserio orchestrated this offseason. Will Anderson Jr. locked into a massive multi-year extension. Azeez Al-Shaair secured long-term. Daniel Hunter, Dalton Schultz, and top receiver Nico Collins all handed immediate financial bumps. Why is this such a huge chess move? Because locking them down now, before the market for edge rushers and receivers explodes even further, directly correlates to the cap space they will desperately need when Stroud's massive bill finally arrives. This front office has set a very concrete precedent. They identify their pillars, and they secure them early. This heavily indicates that they might just take the financial leap with Stroud much sooner rather than later. But hey, if negotiations completely stall, Houston does have one final, desperate financial shield, $25.9 million. For those unfamiliar with the gritty mechanics of the CBA, this is the exact, fully guaranteed cost of CJ Stroud's fifth-year option in 2027. First-round picks come with a team option for a fifth season, allowing the franchise to retain the player at a fixed, albeit high price point. Listen, it is the absolute last bargain this franchise will ever get at the quarterback position. It acts as a temporary dam before the floodwaters of a top-of-the-market mega deal wash over the rest of the roster. Yes, they have this option in their back pocket to delay the massive cap hit, but leaning on it means pushing Stroud into a lame duck year, and doing that, it risks potentially destroying trust and permanently souring the relationship with their franchise centerpiece. Which leads us to the core concept defining everything Houston is doing right now. The championship window. Let's define it. It's the brief, unforgiving period where a team's roster talent vastly outweighs their salary cap constraints. So the really crucial point to take away from all this is that the narrative has mutated. It is no longer just about CJ Stroud's bank account. It's about the ruthless, cutthroat, win-now mentality that Houston is desperately applying to every other square inch of this roster. Because they know, deep down, that the moment Stroud signs his name on the dotted line, the era of having a roster with elite talent that vastly outweighs its actual financial cost is officially, permanently over. The ultimate mandate: win now. Because Stroud's mega deal is hovering over them like a guillotine, the rest of the team must be perfected immediately. There is no more building for the future. Actually, scratch that. The luxury of patience is entirely dead. The future is today. If you're going to win a Super Bowl with a stacked, star-studded roster, It literally has to be this season before the brutal financial realities force you to start dismantling the very juggernaut you've built. The defense specifically must be an absolute impenetrable fortress right now, capable of carrying this team through the grueling playoffs even if the offense stutters. And Caserio has meticulously built exactly that. He has assembled what is quite possibly the most terrifying defensive backfield in the entire National Football League. Look at the specific elite traits of these names. Derek Stingley, playing with unparalleled hip fluidity and lockdown coverage on one side. Kamari Lassiter, a young phenom playing with the predatory instincts of a seasoned veteran. Caitlin Bullock, a rangy Pro Bowl talent dominating the deep third of the field. Jalen Pitre, bringing absolute downhill violence and crazy versatility to the nickel spot. And finally, the missing link, Reed Blankenship. One by one, Houston has stacked elite, game-changing talent in the secondary, ensuring that opposing quarterbacks have absolute nightmares when they look at the film. And it's that last name that demands our undivided attention, highlighted by the number 3. This offseason, the Texans quietly handed a strategic 3-year deal to free agent safety Reed Blankenship. On the surface, a safety didn't really seem like a glaring priority. They had internal options. So why did the rest of the league completely miss this? What did Houston see on the tape? Well, they didn't just want depth, they saw a specialized, highly intelligent weapon to finalize this elite unit. They saw a player whose diagnostic skills pre-snap could elevate everyone around him, making this a calculated, brilliant, under-the-radar masterstroke. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to the guys grinding in the trenches. Inside the sweltering heat of OTAs, Texans star Jalen Pitre gave a glowing endorsement. He said adding Reed is going to be a huge piece for us, has already been very vocal in his approach so far. This proves that Blankenship isn't just a body on the field. He is already altering the very DNA and the intensity of the Houston locker room. He's bringing a veteran voice, a demanding presence, and a relentless standard to a defense that is entirely focused on winning a championship right this second. To understand exactly why Blankenship is the final puzzle piece, you really have to look at the scars he took to get here. He wasn't handed anything. Step 1, he entered the league as an undrafted free agent. He had to fight, scrape, and claw his way through special teams just for a spot on the roster. Step 2, he proved his absolute reliability in a deeply demanding Philadelphia Eagles defense for 3 punishing seasons. Step 3, he brings invaluable Super Bowl experience and was a highly respected team captain. This pedigree, this incredible football IQ and relentless underdog mentality is exactly why he fits D'Amico Ryan's aggressive, hard-nosed defensive vision so perfectly. But he is far more than just a vocal leader in the locker room. Look at the sheer, cold, statistical dominance Blankenship brings to the table since 2023. Over 75 total tackles, 21 passes defended, 8 interceptions. Listen, these aren't just numbers. This is a story of a player who completely erases mistakes. 8 interceptions isn't luck, that's predatory instinct. It is a player who consistently diagnoses the play, finds the football, and violently punishes opposing offenses. He isn't just a system guy, he is a highly productive, disruptive force who brings a terrifying level of consistency to a secondary that is already loaded with top-tier athletes. He is, quite literally, the final piece of the puzzle. By bringing in Blankenship, the Texans completely stabilize the safety spot opposite Pro Bowler Caitlin Bullock. When you look at the secondary now, if you are an offensive coordinator, where do you even throw the football? Who do you attack? Stingley, Lassiter, Bullock, Pitre, Blankenship? The terrifying answer is nowhere. Houston has engineered a defensive backfield that leaves opposing play callers with absolutely zero weaknesses to exploit. They have meticulously sealed every single crack in the armor. Which brings our entire narrative totally full circle. With the defense now perfected, completely finalized, and ready to win a Super Bowl today, a massive, glaring question emerges. Can the offense match the defense's elite assembly? The unbearable pressure is no longer just about salary caps and luxury depth. It rests squarely, heavily, on CJ Stroud's shoulders. The front office has done their job. The defense is a masterpiece. Now, the quarterback must justify the $60 million price tag that is hurtling toward the franchise at breakneck speed. And this is the brutal, unavoidable reality of 2026. It is a heavyweight boxing match between 2 entirely different expectations within the exact same locker room. On one side, you have an elite defense, star-studded, featuring guys with Super Bowl experience and ready to absolutely dominate the league right now. On the other side, you have immense offensive pressure. CJ Stroud must prove to the world and to Nick Caserio that his 2025 playoff collapse, the forced throws, the terrible struggles under pressure, was nothing more than a fluke. If the defense holds up their end of the bargain,
Stroud has absolutely no excuses left. He has to deliver. The clock is deafening. It isn't just ticking anymore, it is roaring. Every single snap CJ Stroud takes this season is an audition. It is an audition for his legacy. It is an audition for his survival in this cutthroat league. And it is an audition for a staggering, historic amount of money. If he fails, we are looking at a scenario where this perfectly constructed defense is slowly dismantled piece by piece, all because they tied their financial anchor to a quarterback who couldn't elevate them when it mattered most. The Texans have pushed all their chips to the center of the table. Now it all comes down to the quarterback executing under the brightest, most unforgiving lights imaginable. Because this front office is obsessed with one thing and one thing only. Just look at GM Nick Caserio's exact words when he was explaining why they signed Reed Blankenship. He's been a part of a lot of winning. He won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. This reveals the franchise's true, singular obsession. They aren't just importing talent anymore, they are importing champions. They are bringing in players who know the exact physical, emotional, and psychological toll it takes to actually survive the grueling month of January and hoist the Lombardi Trophy. They are building a team that simply refuses to lose. And that leaves us with this massive, haunting cliffhanger that perfectly encapsulates the high-stakes drama unfolding in Texas. Will Houston hoist the Lombardi Trophy before this $60 million bill comes due? Can CJ Stroud conquer his playoff demons and lead this flawless defense to the promised land before his mega contract fundamentally shatters the financial foundation of the team? The window is wide open right now, but the heavy steel doors are slowly, inevitably starting to close. This story is far, far from over. The pressure is on, the pieces are perfectly in place, and the entire league is watching Houston. To ensure you don't miss a single second of how this cinematic clash of talent and finances plays out, you need to join the community. Subscribe to NFL Nexus right now. Like this explainer, drop a comment below with your prediction for Stroud's massive contract, and please become a channel member today to support these deep dives. We'll see you on the next one, because in the NFL, the bill always comes due.